I'm doing this video for Todd because Todd is a fucking champion, and I want him to use this. He can cut out the entire first part of this. That's all good. I'm getting ready to do another intro for Todd, and I'm going to start right here. So Todd, SA Ecstasy Prez, asked me to do a critique on his video. And not really a critique, but, you know, commentary on it. You can't criticize what Todd does. Todd fucking rocks. So I'm going to do that right now. Let's get started. This cop was just fucking rocked by Todd's actions. And I'm going to show you how all that works.
Good afternoon, sir. Coleman County Sheriff's Office. We're in for your stop. You went right through that stoplight. You have your driver's license proof insurance on you? Thank you very much. Mr. Ferguson, is this your current address down in Live Oak?
So when a cop asks you to produce a driver license, and you do produce a driver license, in some states you don't have to write on request. If in Oregon, for instance, many traffic stops, many traffic offenses are violations. They're not misdemeanors or crimes. Misdemeanors or felonies. So if they're not a crime, there can be no reasonable articulable suspicion that a crime is afoot. If they're just a violation, they're not a crime, and therefore there is no RAS, no reasonable articulable suspicion for the requirement of a production of an ID. And I'm not a lawyer, but this is just my opinion. Okay, understand? I'm not telling you what to do or what not to do. This is just my opinion. And somebody could come on here and say, "No, you're fucking wrong." So be it. I haven't done that. I haven't said I'm not going to produce an ID when stopped for a traffic stop. But the last one I put up, where Joanna Ortiz stopped me for not signaling 100 foot before a turn, which is a bullshit punk move stop. I could have said, it's not a crime. I don't have a duty to identify. But my son was with me. I didn't want to get into all that shit. So, but I thought about it afterwards. I thought, you know, I didn't even have to identify there. But when a cop asks you, are you still living at this address, or is this your current address? What they're doing is conducting a criminal investigation, because what they want you to do is admit that you've moved or that you no longer live there. And then they're going to ask you if you've been moved for more than 30 days. And then they're going to cite you for failing to notify the DMV of your current address. Todd did right here. He said everything you need to know is on the driver license. Sometimes I'll say stuff like, that's a current address. Or, do I have a duty to assist you in your investigation? Okay. But here's what Todd did. And I like it.
Yes or no?
I'm sorry?
Is this your current address down in Live Oak?
Everything I need is on my license.
All right.
So see, that cop was getting pushy with him. Yes or no? I mean, this cop, I'm the boss. Yes or no? Everything you need's right there on that license. Okay? So see, the deal is this cop knew he was up against a non-easy target. What Todd's doing here is letting this cop know that taking a big, wet bite out of Todd's ass is not going to be as tasty as the cop wants it to be. He can still write him a ticket, but it's just not going to be easy prey. So this is beautiful.
SO 431.
I'm repeating this part of the video because I want you to pay particular attention to it. In an interrogation, if you watch videos on how cops interrogate people, when somebody touches their head or their neck, or you know they're messing with themselves up here, what it shows is that they're uncomfortable. It's because their blood pressure is rising, and they really, you know, especially if they're grabbing their neck, they're just kind of like, fuck, I gotta have some relief. This shit, this is just tearing me up here. And so when a cop touches his face or his neck or his head, it's the same thing going on. And when Todd shuts this guy down by not answering directly his question, watch what the cop does.
Got a flashlight? Can't see, man.
very much. All right, you can hold on to that one for me. You can hold on to that for me. Before I go anywhere, sir, are there any weapons I need to know about? No pipe bombs, hand grenades, ninja stars, nothing like that?
Now, I thought you had a duty to inform an officer if you have a concealed carry on you, if you have a permit. Now, I'm not sure if Todd has a permit or not. I'm not judging him or what he's doing. But I asked a friend of mine that is a cop, a law enforcement guy in Texas. And I said, does a CCW or any other person have a duty to identify if they're carrying a weapon on them? And the answer that came back was kind of unclear. I think a CCW may not have the duty to identify if you have a CCW permit. But I would think that it's a criminal investigation question nonetheless. And I really like how Todd answers it. So there you go.
What's that?
You have any weapons on you?
I don't answer questions.
Okay, so nothing illegal either, right?
I don't answer questions.
All right, thank you. Sit tight.
You're digging hard, dude. You're digging hard trying to find something. You're not gonna find anything.
We're clean.
Clean as a whistle, guys.
We're clean.
All right, Mr. Ferguson.
Now, I think this is perfect because the cop called for backup, and it didn't threaten Todd. And what it did, it used more of the police resources. Therefore, they weren't out harassing someone else who didn't know their rights as well as Todd. And notice Todd didn't go flailing his arms saying, I know my rights and shit. He just answered the questions the way he was supposed to answer them.
It's going to be a citation for running that stop sign, okay? We'll set your court date for August 9th at 10 a.m. It's going to be at JP3 right up here on West San Antonio Street with Judge Russ. You going to tell me where you were born?
This is another criminal investigation question. Where you were born. Tell me where you were born. What the fuck? Seriously? Why the fuck does that matter to you? The guy's wanting to get a point of origin on what state he may be able to look for other criminal charges, in my opinion. And so it's a baseless question that does not need to be answered except in the cop's mind, and blue egos do not really matter to me at all. So do what you want, but that's a question that just needs to be answered with I don't answer questions, in my opinion.
Sorry?
Where were you born?
Everything you need is on my license right there.
Okay, what's your phone number?
Everything you need is on my driver's license.
Outstanding. All right, hold on to that. What make is this Harley? Is it a lowrider or what?
I don't answer questions.
Okay.
You're being streamed live, by the way.
What's that?
You're being streamed live.
That's fine. You'll sign down to the bottom. It's not a plea of guilt. Just a promise to contact the court on or before 9th of August, 10 a.m.
Can you give me some light? Where at?
Right there at the bottom where it says signature.
Man, I don't have my
Can you not see that as long as the stoplight too, or what?
You being a smartass?
Are you being a smartass? Yeah, this cop's being a smartass. Thank you, Todd, for calling this asshole on this.
It's right there. Go ahead and
But I don't
sign
have
it.
my glasses on, man.
Go ahead and sign it.
Where?
Right there at the bottom where it says signature.
I can't see that. I don't have my glasses on. Right here?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Here's an information sheet. Again, it's going to be JP3, Judge Russ.
I don't need that.
Well, I'm required to give it to you.
I don't need it.
I'm required to give it to you.
Well, you can keep it.
My sergeant's standing right there. I'm required to give it to you.
I don't need it. I don't want it.
Okay.